Really much tervepä terve again. In this video I'm going to show you how to set up Dynamics 365 Unified Service Desk and how that is used in basic scenarios for customer service operations. I will not go very deeply into the customizations of USD. I can do that in another session, but in this one just the basic setup and a few things related to the installation, and also a couple of things which I've noticed while taking this into use. So first of all, Unified Service Desk contains two different downloadable applications. First one is the client itself, and then there's also a package deployer application. Both of these needs to be downloaded first from the web, and then after that, of course, installed to the workstation itself. So if we start from the downloads, when you do a search by Dynamics 365 Unified Service Desk, you will find that there are two links on top of the search results. The first one points to downloads under Microsoft.com, and second one is under docs.microsoft.com. For some reason, in the downloads page, the link points to, let me change the language to the correct one. So in the downloads page, the link points to the version 2.2, which is an older version than the latest one is 3.2. So for some reason, these two do not point to the same downloads section. If we open the one under docs.microsoft.com, you will see that there are options to download different versions. Strangely enough, if I click the download link under the 3.2 version, it still shows the downloadables for the version 3.1. So there is something strange in that, but at least by choosing the docs.microsoft.com link, you will find the most recent ones at least. So probably that should be selected. Anyways, I've already downloaded the packages. As I mentioned earlier, there's the package deployer application and then the actual client application. There are 32-bit version and 64-bit versions available for the client itself. And after the download, you need to, of course, install the package deployer exe, and that will be extracted to its own directory in your workstation. And what is this used for is that it actually contains kind of like templates or ready-made solution packages for the USD that gets deployed with this application to your Dynamics 365 instance. And so if I quickly show you first how the package deployer looks like once I open this, it will show you the authentication screen first. And the USD can be used in both on-premises and against the online version of Dynamics 365. So basically, if you have on-premise, the login information that you will enter is a bit different than in the O365 environment. But anyways, it will work on both of them. So if I log into my instance, which I have running under the EMEA region, then it should show me the list of organizations or instances that I have over there. And after that, I have 4 different options for deploying the packages to the CRM. These different options are explained in detail in Microsoft knowledge base articles, so I won't go into details of these, but you will find the information easily if you search the web for the USD package deployer options. I've used the interactive service hub option in my installation or instance, and how it looks like in the CRM side is I will open the solutions here, and as you can see there are 3 different solution packages installed by the package deployer. So the first one is the USD solution package itself, then there is another one which also belongs to this, and the also a third one. So these all make up the actual CRM functionalities for the USD. So that's it basically for the package deployer. I cancel out this one because I've already done the deployment. And the next thing to do is to install the actual client. And the client application, once it's installed, it's a Windows desktop application that gets installed to your workstation, and it's going to be extracted or installed to your program files depending from the if it's 64 or 32-bit version. So you will find the installation directory under the proper path. Now I have it already installed. I have a shortcut here. So if I start it, there's a change credentials link in the splash screen, and if I click that, it presents me pretty much the similar authentication window that I already showed you in the package deployer. So here I can select my deployment type of CRM and then the credentials, and if I log in, it should again show me the list of instances, and once the USD client starts, then it loads the default start screen, which I've actually configured to be the first one shown in the client. Usually takes a few seconds to load. And now it's about to start. And in my sample scenario here, I have the customer service dashboard configured as the starting screen, and naturally you can select different dashboards that are available in your CRM organization. But as you can see here, it's on its own Windows application that has nothing to do with the CRM or Dynamics web client. Within the USD client application, there's the top menu toolbar, which is also customizable or configurable. You can add your own menu items over there. Then there's the actual content area, which shows information from CRM. And in the bottom part, there's the toolbar or information bar for showing the average information about the cases in this sample scenario. These can be configured also to show other types of information from the CRM. Okay, then a few things about the login or the authentication, which I've noticed while I was playing around with this USD client. Initially I had some issues in terms of authentication, and I thought it might be beneficial for someone to see the things, how the authentication and logging process actually works. So if we start from the authentication, it uses of course the O365 authentication when CRM Online instance is being used. And as you saw, the credentials were already there in the splash screen ready, as I had used this before. But where those are actually stored is that it uses the Credential Manager of Windows to store or cache the credentials. And if I show you how it looks like, I'll open the Credential Manager, and it's in the Windows credentials where these are stored. And if we look at the bottom part of the Windows credentials, there's the USD_default entry over here. And if you have any issues in terms of logging into the USD, it throws some kind of an authentication error or something, this might be the first place to look for. And perhaps if you remove this entry and restart the USD, then it will ask for the authentication again. And this way you can be sure that there is the correct username and password stored to the Windows Credential Manager. Another place where this authentication window information is stored is in a configuration file that is located under the your Windows profile. So as you can see, I'm now under my Windows profile. In roaming section there's the USD folder, and there's one file called default_usd.config. And if I open that in text editor, it contains this type of information that basically has the splash screen information in raw data format in XML. And this can be used to predefine these things for the end users, for the customer service representatives who will be using the USD client, to make the authentication and login experience easier. So admins can use this to deploy the authentication information within the USD to the client workstations. And this _usd.config file is not the actual one which gets deployed to the end users machines, but there's another one, another config file under the installation directory where this information is then copied, and that file gets deployed to the end users workstations. So that's also good to keep in mind if you will be deploying this to production scenarios. Okay, one more thing which I thought that would be probably beneficial to mention is that if for some reason you need to uninstall the USD client, it cannot be done from the control panel and from the regular uninstall applications. So if you select the USD client from the control panel, you can see that there is no button for uninstall or repair the installation as there usually is for the Windows desktop applications. So how the installation is done is that you need to go to the installation file which you downloaded, and then once you double click that, you will get a screen that has the repair and uninstall options. So this can be used now for these two scenarios if you need to do repair or uninstall for the client itself. Okay, so we proceed, and next thing which I thought that I'm going to show you is the client and how it actually looks like when we go a bit deeper. So we already looked at the dashboard and how that is configured and is seen in the USD itself. The next thing over there would be the top menu. Let's wait for a few seconds for it to load. Here we go. And on the top menu, I have the My Work as a next available menu item. Once I click that, I have configured it to show kind of like two listings from CRM. This is again dashboard, but just to show you that you can configure these top menu items as you like, and this is for the scenario where the customer representative would have his or her next active cases in the list on the top listing, and then the activities that belong to the user in the bottom listing. And these are again opened to another tab within the USD client, so the dashboard and the My Work are easily available for clicking in their own separate tabs. Next in this one is the search, and this opens another tab to the USD client, and this is a search against the CRM data. So if I, for example, search with the keyword gym, I have two entity records that gets displayed, and this uses the CRM global search, same search functionality that is available in the web client. And if I click the contact Jim Glynn, another tab gets opened within the client, and this time it's a new session. So within the USD client you will have different sessions when you are working with the customers, and once the new session gets started, in the bottom toolbar or the command bar there is the session time indicator showing that how long you have had the session open for this customer. So this gets also logged to the statistics once you open and close the sessions with the customers. And within the this one session, I have now Jim's information available. So this is the contact form from the CRM that is also shown in the web client side. Also within this same view, I have customized one button here, which is shown in the top part of the contact form. It's now in Finnish, but as translated it says that send a personalized email. And what this button click actually does is that it fetches one email template from CRM, which I've pre-configured, and then it takes some information from the opening or the session that I have opened, so the Jim's information, and then shows an email activity with that data visible. So if I click that button, it opens an email activity view or form in its new tab, and in this email activity I have a couple of dynamic information items, which is just to demonstrate that what kind of possibilities here are. And an example here in the email subject, I have the contact's full name, also the same in the body, and then my own full name information within the signature of the email. And of course from here you can send the email out without going into the web client or Outlook itself to send out the email, so it's easier for the customer representative to work only with this one USD client and not having to go into another clients or tools to work with the customers. Alright, so the next use case which I thought that would be good to show you is the how this works when there's an incoming phone call. For that there is an emulator application that can be used to show you that it's actually something which you can download from the web. There is an MSDN document for showing the more detailed instructions. So if you search for CTI event routing or listener adapter, you can find it. And it's available for download, and it's a Visual Studio solution package that you need to compile, and from that you will get an executable that I'm going to show you next. So I have the CTI Manager already compiled here, and I've compiled it as a debug build. So once I start it up, it shows up like this. So with this I can, for example, send a phone call request against my open USD session. But to demonstrate it, I close the existing session that I had open with Jim Glynn, and I go back to the emulator here and type the key field name that I'm using here. Let's use the phone now, and then the phone number, if I remembered it correctly. Let's see. So I sent the request now from the emulator, and it seems that I did remember the phone number of Jim Glynn correctly. So what happened there on the USD client side is that it opened a new session, and then it opened a session for Jim, as it found that there is the same phone number in Jim's information in CRM that I typed in the client or to the emulator application. So what happened in the background is that it made a search against the CRM contacts with the phone number field, and if there is only one identical match, then that is shown as a tab here in the USD client. And of course it helps out the customer representative to see the information of the calling contact even before the representative answers the phone, so he can see that who is calling and what is the background information of this calling contact in our CRM. So the next thing that I'm going to show you is the chat functionality and how it's possible to configure here. I'm using here the Live Assist chat service that is available from the web, and they have a trial which I'm using here, and I'm going to show you how it's basically configured. And the web registration is very straightforward. I will not show you that. It has it basically asks for your CRM instance information, as it also deploys another solution package to your CRM. So if we look again the solution packages that I have here, it's Live Assist by CafeX solution package that gets deployed. And once the registration is basically ready, there is an email that you will get from the Live Assist support, and there is a link over here that will lead you to the admin portal. And I'll open it in Chrome browser because I've noticed that this is the web browser that works the best with the CafeX portal. And once I'm logged in, there are a few things that are important here. So first of all, how to configure the chat window itself to be shown as you like it is. So there is a top menu toolbar here. Under the links there is an engagement portal, and this opens up kind of like a tool for configuring the chat itself. And once it's loaded, there's a campaigns menu item in the top, and once I click that, we have the live chat on your site selection. And what I'm doing here now is that I'm basically setting up the chat options that are available. These are pre-configured for the trial now, so pretty much everything ready to go. But what I wanted to do here is that I will enable kind of like PreChat Survey, so that the user who comes in or browses to my website and sees the chat option over there, once he clicks that, he will get a few questions first to enter name, email address and phone number, and then answer one question which will kind of like give more information for the customer representative on the USD to let him know that what is the question about that the person on the chat will be asking. So how that is done now is that I go to the chat part and click edit. And over here I have the chat available already, so I click the edit over there. And this is the tool which I can use for customization of the chat window itself. We can change the look and feel of the chat, and then also the images, colors, and so on. But the PreChat Survey is available from the drop down here, and here I can turn it on or off. And once I have it on, I click that, and here I can configure the questions that I have in the PreChat Survey. There's the name, email address, phone number, and then one drop down type of a question where the question is, what is your question related to? And two options that I've configured now, tech support or billing. And let's see how it looks like. There is a demo website available from the Live Assist portal. So there's the Get Started menu, and once I click the chat under that and scroll a few pages forward, there's a button for opening a demo site. And once I click that, there should be a live chat button opening to the right side of the page, and this is now kind of like simulate the web person browsing your website and wanting to chat with your customer service. So once I click that, I have the PreChat Survey available first, which needs to be filled out before this person can actually have a chat conversation with your customer service. And here the name is actually used as a key to identify the person on the chat, and that is again used in the CRM to make a search by the name to pop out the proper contact page in the USD client once the chat is actually started. And here you can also see the pre-question about the subject of the question, tech support or billing. Now, as you probably noticed, when I opened my USD client, the chat control should be loaded here on the right side of the client, but there is some type of an issue in my current workstation here that it all does not log in properly. And what happens is that it's always in the disconnected status, and the loading image is just showing up over there. And this issue has something to do with the authentication to the chat service. I have not yet troubleshooted this very far. I'm not sure what is it about, but I've tested this with another workstation also, and it works on that. So I will switch to another machine now to show you the actual chat functionality. But before that, I want to quickly show you how these type of issues are troubleshooted in the USD client. So there's a settings icon over here in the top menu, and here you can click the debug item, and there is the debug output tab in this debugger, and here you can actually see the things that are happening in the background in the USD client. And with this sample issue here, you can see that there is an error in the chat control, and it seems to be in get presence info method, and the actual error is null reference exception. And in more detail, it seems to be happening in this this get JavaScript function, and something is happening related to the authentication. It uses an OAuth 2 authentication method in the background, and it does not seem to get the token properly, or something like that is happening. But as mentioned, I'm not sure yet what is the actual cause of it, so once I find that out, I will post another blog post about that. But as mentioned, I will now switch to another workstation and show you the actual check functionality before we end this video. Okay, so now I'm here with in another workstation where the USD client loads the Live Assist chat tool properly on the right panel. So as you can see, difference comparing to my other workstation is that I'm online now, and the chat tool is here available. I can grab an incoming chat whenever somebody opens it up from our website. So in the browser side, I'm ready to launch the demo site again. So let's click that. And now, if everything goes well, I have the chat button all again available over here. And when user clicks the button, then he will see the PreChat Survey. And as mentioned, I have a sample contact person in the CRM called Jim Glynn, so I add his information here, and then finally answer the question that I will be asking about billing. Submit the chat, and now it's connecting to the chat service. I switch to the USD client side, and here we can see that there is an incoming chat request coming up, and I will grab it from the right panel by clicking it. And what happened in the background is that it actually found a match in the CRM using the name information from the PreChat survey, and it's doing the search again against the name to the CRM. And by clicking the name information here in the chat control, I can see a chat context tab within the session on the USD, and here we can see the information that user typed in the PreChat survey, his name, phone number, and then the question that he answered in the PreChat survey, that he's now asking about the billing, something about the billing related to the customer service. Also, some other types of information that is available now from the chat. There is the information that gets fetched from the user's workstation, and also his or her internet service provider gets displayed here, and about the chat session information related to the chat service. And then of course, once I answer for the person, I can say that, "Hi Jim, how can I help you in billing questions today?" And once I have entered that information there, then on the other side I can see that now I have a customer representative helping me out, and then Jim can ask again, or ask his question about the billing. My bill is too large, for example, or something like that. And then of course they will help me out in this billing question. And in the end, once the chat conversation is done, then this all gets saved as a chat activity to CRM, so it's all in Jim's history related to the contact in CRM for everybody to see in the CRM that this type of a chat conversation has been going on during today, and Jim has been asking about his too big bill or invoice, and whatever the end result then was for the chat conversation. Okay, so hopefully this has given you some basic information about the USD and what kind of possibilities there are for using it for customer service scenarios. As I mentioned in the beginning, this is just kind of like very basic session and information for this subject. There are lots of details that I did not cover today, but I will do some further sessions for those subjects, and then we can go deeper into the details of the implementation of the USD. So thank you for watching and have an excellent day.